Hi guys, in this video we'll be configuring worker node and we'll make it part of the cluster, Kubernetes cluster. So we'll understand what all tools or services needs to be enabled and what is the process. So before we do that, let's first configure the node over here. I'll just quickly do that. It is the same way. I'll be using the same image which I used for master. Okay, so I give a name to the compute machine. I select the operating system. I select the shape. I'm giving 2 cores and 8 gigs of RAM, and I'll make it part of the public subnet. I've uploaded the old key. I'll use the same one, and the size is 50 gigs for the disk. And I'll just hit the button which says create. Okay, my machine is up. I'll just copy the IP address and I'll just see if it is talking. It is. Let me just connect now. I'll do a SSH and I'm in. So first thing is I'll just check the IP address. This is the IP address. It has been allocated. I'll make this changes. The host name is fine with me. I'll just reset the SSHD configuration so that I don't have to give the private key. I'll just do that quickly and also make a host file entry. That's my host file entry. It is done. I'm making my change in the SSHD file, so permit login is yes, password authentication is yes. After this, I'll just change the password for root and Ubuntu. After I made the change in the SSHD file, I restart that and then I change the password and now I'll exit and reconnect. A new console and I'm in. So to make the worker node a worker node, what we need to do is it needs 3 things. A kubelet service, which is an agent. Like I said, it's a heartbeat communication agent with the rest of the worker nodes and the master node. KubeADM is a utility which is required to join the cluster. That's the first thing to do. And then the containerd services where the pods slash containers will be running. I have the steps, but if you look at this article carefully, the steps are pretty much same. Um, Another thing is that the worker node would need for the once these services or um, these services are installed, it would also look for something called API token, a certificate server, and the API server IP address and port number. Those are given by the master server. Once it has all the 3 information, it will be able to connect. So let's get that going. So this is my master server and it is at 178. If I run the command kubelet get nodes, I will see my master server. I've already joined one of the worker nodes, but this one is not yet joined. It is worker node 2. So that's what we are trying to achieve. If I just show you the pods which are running, we have API server, scheduler, and the controller. There are other containers also which are running, which was installed by kubeadm. If I show you the IP address of these containers, they are using host-based networking and they're not using the bridge-based networking. So that's another initial thing which I wanted to show. Now let's let me just show you the article quickly. If I just go to Kubernetes IO documentation, set up the ADM, we need the same command, so that's what we're gonna follow. These are the same things which I just said. These are the commands which we will be quickly following on the worker node. Let's move to the other command. Let me get that. Sometimes this command fails because it looks for this path etc apt keyring, so it's better you create that file before it looks for it. And then let's do the let's set the repo now. which is done. Let's update. We don't need the CTL command because that will be on the master. That's a CLI for the master. Kubedium so that we can join this particular worker node to the cluster, and kubelet is the heartbeat service. Let's install the container D now because that's where our pod/containers will be running. And it is done. Now to join the worker node, we need, like I said, three things. What is the API token number I'm going to use to connect to for the first time? What is the certificate authority here? And what is the API server IP address and port number? So let's quickly check all of it. So if I just show you, the first thing it is looking for is what is the API server IP address. So if you look here, that's my API server, and like I said, it's using the host network. What's the port? So if I just say, I mean, in the documentation, we know the port is 6443, but I just want to show you the same thing over here. It says API server is using it. Where can I find who is the CA? So if I just say etc cube and then think PKI, yeah. So that's my CA certificate, and so that is there. And the last thing we need to see is API token number. So if I just quickly show you KubeADM token list, that's my cube, the tokens. So um, to join the cluster, we can run now. We need to give all the three information to the worker node. Is there a command which can give all the three information? Yes, we can actually, if we run the command cube on the master node, if we run this command, you would see that we have the IP address with port number, we have the token, and we have the certificate. So we just need to copy this guy, come to our worker node, and from here we will be running this command. You can also run in verbose mode to see what happens in the background. Great. It just takes a few seconds. It says this node has joined the cluster. Now if I come here and if I just quickly run the command, that's my firm pods. Sorry, I'll use the same command to get the nodes. You can see that this is the master and this is the server which has joined. Now that concludes our demo.